Now, the UK government says it will designate all of Hamas as a terrorist organisation. Supporters of the group could face up to 14 years in jail. The Home Secretary Priti Patel announced that move in Washington, D.C. on Friday. Patel was forced to resign, you may remember, as Britain's International Development Secretary in 2017 after holding secret meetings with senior Israeli officials. Hamas says the decision is biased towards Israel. More on this one with Niamh Barker in London. Niamh, why now?
Yeah, that's a good question. But what we do know is that the British government is now prepared to take a firm and uncompromising stance on Hamas. In 2001, its military wing was designated a illegal terrorist organisation, and the decision now is to expand that even further, covering all of Hamas's various divisions and entities. What Priti Patel is saying is that she can't disaggregate between the political and the military, and this decision is being based upon new intelligence about Hamas's capabilities, possibly to inflict harm on Israel and others. We know that, of course, the military wing was responsible for not only defending Palestinians in Gaza, but also launching rocket attacks into Israel. And it is the firm view of Priti Patel that Jewish communities in that part of the world, but in other parts of the world too, need protecting, which is why this new designation, she hopes, will come into force. She is expected in about half an hour's time to call Hamas fundamentally and rabidly anti-Semitic. So not mincing her words at all when she is expected to speak shortly in Washington, D.C.
OK, thank you for that update. Niamh Barker in London. Just want to get a little more detail on what it means for Hamas to be banned under, this is specifically the UK Terrorism Act. Anyone expressing support for Hamas verbally, or if they display the flag or symbols of Hamas, could face up to 14 years in jail. Any interaction with members of the organisation would also be in breach of the Terrorism Act. Canada, the European Union, Israel, Japan and the United States already regard Hamas as a terrorist organisation. So let's put all of this to Osama Hamdan, who is a senior representative of Hamas in Lebanon, joining us from Beirut today. Thank you for your time, Mr. Hamdan. I want to read to you and to our viewers just briefly what the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has said. She said this through a tweet earlier today. She said, Hamas has significant terrorist capability, including access to extensive and sophisticated weaponry, as well as terrorist training facilities. Does Hamas have any of that? Does Hamas have sophisticated and extensive weaponry?
Well, I have to say that it's a new British aggression against the Palestinian people. The first one was in 1917 with what was called Balfour Declaration, who created Israel on the Palestinian homeland. Now, after more than 104 years, the new government, a new Nazists in London, they want to attack the Palestinians another time, as if they are not sufficient with all the suffering of the Palestinians in the last century. What I want to say, as Palestinians, everyone knows that we are defending our people, we are defending our rights, and according to the international law, we are freedom fighters against the occupation. And instead of stopping the occupation of its violations against the Palestinians, this minister created a problem with the Palestinians another time. I believe this is happening because of one very important reason. After the last Israeli attack on Jerusalem and Gaza, everyone realized that the international community was not happy with what Israel have done against the Palestinians. And the people in Britain, they started to read a new story about the Palestinian sufferness. What she did, she wants to prevent the British people to understand really what is going on, to prevent their relations with the Palestinians as people, and she created this fake story. We have declared clearly every time that we are resisting the occupation, and we will continue that until we achieve our goals as Palestinians to liberate our lands and to establish our independent sovereign state.
OK. I take all of those points. With respect, though, my question was about what Priti Patel had actually said about your capabilities as a threat? Because this is what the UK is believing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying the UK says you are, or Hamas is a threat to Israel and to others. Do you have that weaponry with you? Do you have that capability?
If she's talking about the capabilities to attack Britain, she is totally wrong and she's lying. But if she's talking about the capability of defending ourselves against Israel, I have to ask her whether she is a minister in the British cabinet or a minister in Israeli cabinet.
What do you think this will do? Because the military wing of Hamas had already been designated as a terrorist organisation by the UK. How does it change if the political side is as well? Will this affect, if there's another war on Gaza, will it affect what the UK can do for Palestinian people? Will it affect what charities, UK charities, can do for the people of Gaza?
Well, I have to say that if she wants to create more troubles for the Palestinians in any next Israeli attack, this is done by her. But as Palestinians, we will continue defending our people and fighting against the occupation. I think mostly it will affect on the people who are in Britain supporting the rights of the Palestinians. She wants to prevent them from doing that. She wants to prevent maybe the politicians from talking directly to Hamas because she understands as a supporter for Israel. Everyone knows that she's a supporter of Israel, and she was expelled from the government for that few years ago because she visited Tel Aviv without giving any information for the government for that. She's a supporter for Israel, working for Israel to this limit, to be expelled from the government. If she decides to do that, I believe she will not do anything good for the Palestinians. So now the big question will be what the British politicians will do, what they will say when someone is working against what I believe the benefit of Britain.
Osama Hamdan represents Hamas in Lebanon, joining us from Beirut today. Thank you for your time.